getting upset or reacting to the initial 53-man roster, that's such a yesterday thing. We're here to react to the subsequent 53-man roster, the roster that is the 49ers roster right now. Newsprint Red Option Podcast, Jason Aponte. Play our music.
Burn. Burn.
I'll just pick up that part and then we'll end it. There we go. Boom. Hey, Newsprint Red Option Podcast. I am Andrew Pasquini, joined as always with Jason Aponte. And Jason, it's a Wednesday. It's a different day. The 49ers announced their 53-man roster yesterday. There's already been some changes, some moves to it. We're going to talk all about it. But Jason, first, how's your Wednesday going?
Really good. The Yankees won 11-2 today. I just have an idea for Major League Baseball.
Okay.
Why don't you just let the Yankees play the Nationals every single day? I mean, that would be like way better than actually having to play like good teams.
It's nice. I did see, however, Anthony Volpe struck out against a position player.
He didn't. It was a reliever.
I got
misinformation.
I got memed. I got misinformation. That's okay.
Yes.
Hey, it's good misinformation because I believed it for a second. That's
it's not hard to believe.
It's not hard to believe at all.
It's not hard to believe at all. No. But it was an actual reliever. Yes.
Okay, I'm rewatching the video, and yes, that was a very filthy slider he struck out on. I don't think a position player throws that. I lied. Hey, that's the only misinformation on the Spirit Red Option Podcast for this episode. At least I hope so. Jason, 53-man roster was announced yesterday. You and Steph eloquently broke it down on Bully Ball yesterday. The thing about the initial 53-man roster is it stays that way for a very brief amount of time. And as we're kind of sitting right now, Jason, the 53-man roster is more so a 55-man roster with a couple moves still kind of waiting to be made. So really, before we kind of go position by position with not just the 53-man roster, but also the moves that have happened since, what was kind of your reaction to the big picture of the initial 53?
My God, I thought that Kyle Shanahan was just about to start going for it on every fourth down by getting rid of the punter, and that really made me excited. Honestly, when you looked at that 53-man roster, you knew that there was going to be so many changes, so many things that were going to be different, and that's it. Like, that's all it was. Again, everything's fluid, and when you looked at the amount of receivers, and we found out today that, man, we better not. We better not count on Juwan Jennings in week 1 right now, just based on what was said today. Because, John Lynch was a grumpy bear today in his press conference. But it just felt like this was like bare bones skeleton type 53-man roster. And there was going to be many changes coming.
Yeah, I think what's the biggest reaction that people had yesterday was Sebastian Valdez not making the 53-man. Pretty straightforward outside of that. I think a lot of people were hoping Valdez made the roster because of the underdog thing. But other than that, there really wasn't too many surprises. I was surprised by the reaction to Zackle not making the roster by a lot of the beat writers, because it felt like the entire preseason, it was, Zackle's not looking good. Zackle's not looking good. And then yesterday it was like, oh, the big surprise here is Nick Zackle didn't make the 53-man. And that was, it was a surprise that there was such a surprise to that because everything I read and saw, it was Zackle was kind of the odd man out. And I mean, maybe one of the surprises is that 22 of the 53-man roster right now plays in the trenches. I guess that's another one, kind of both sides of the ball there. But yeah, other than that, it was a relatively straightforward cut day for the 49ers.
Yeah, the 53-man roster really didn't have too many surprises. Again, even I joke about the punter, but that just was a formality, and it just felt like something that, again, I have to say, my disdain for specialists has kind of been quelled by Thomas Morstead, because Thomas Morstead tweets out RELAX.
Yep.
And I thought that was hilarious. I really thought that was hilarious. And this is something Daniel says, so y'all ready for the jersey drop tomorrow? We've seen it.
Yep.
And we've seen it for a while. I just hope you guys like it. All that matters is if you guys like it. Who cares if we don't like it?
It'll truly test how much of a faithful you are, dare I say, Jason Aponte.
Oh God, yo, you know what?
You
I'm gonna cut this clip and I'm gonna post it tomorrow when this comes out because that is such a
thank you,
good,
thank you, thank you.
it's such a good little nugget
It's
right there.
it's a tease. Doesn't give it all away, but it's a
Yeah.
tease. Jason, let's talk about the 53 man roster. I know Morrison told us to relax, but we are not in the business of relaxing here on this podcast. So this is not gonna. We're not gonna go over the initial 53. We're going over the current roster as it is, as of their most recent move, which I believe is the Evan Anderson move for Jordan Jefferson. They got a JJ. We made the joke about Justin Jefferson. We didn't realize how close we were, Jason. But that's the defensive tackle talk. We'll get there in a second. But let's start with the quarterbacks, as always. Brock Purdy, Mac Jones, no surprises. Carter Bradley, Tanner Mordecai cut. Non-football injury list is Curtis Rourke. Niners didn't have a third quarterback. They have signed Adrian Martinez. He was added.
It's not done. He's on his way to get
He's
it done.
on
And
his way.
it's the same thing with MVS and Russell Gage right now at this point.
Yes. So
But Russell Gage is a 53-man roster guy. Like, so that's something that's completely different than practice squad.
Yes. So Adrian Martinez on his way to be on the practice squad, so he'll be your third quarterback. Jason, I'm assuming not too many thoughts here at the quarterback about what we expected. Bradley Mordecai out, Purdy Jones in, and then they went and found a third quarterback elsewhere.
Not really. I mean, I would have liked Sam Hartman, but Washington can't let that handsome devil out of their sight, so he's back on their practice squad.
Now, did you want Hartman because of you like his quarterback ability, or just the Niners needed a hot quarterback because Jimmy Garoppolo era is over?
Yes, the thing that's missing from this quarterback room is the handsome factor, and I will stand on business with that the entire time. Like, we are missing an absolute handsome man who looks like he can sell Calvin Klein jeans, and that was Sam Hartman. I don't understand his roster construction at times. I don't understand what they're thinking. That was the lost thing that was left in his quarterback room.
They're missing it. I guess Brock Purdy is going to have to carry the load of being the hot guy on the roster, I guess, because sure as hell not McCorkle Jones. Running backs, Jason, maybe your first surprise based off of our projections. Christian McCaffrey, Brian Robinson, Isaac Guerrero, Jordan James, who returned to practice on Wednesday. Kyle Juszczyk as the fullback. Cut was Jeff Wilson and Keyshawn Vaughn. Jason, you had Jeff Wilson making your initial 53. He did not make it, and it looks like I don't think he was announced on the practice squad either.
He signed with Miami.
He signed with Miami. Okay, I missed that.
Practice squad.
Jeff Wilson to Miami's practice squad. It was fun to pretend like he'd be back just because old Niner name you're used to. But Jeff Wilson, the odd man out.
It would have been fire if Kyle Shanahan would have been able to talk before by letting us know that Jordan James would return to practice today. I definitely would have changed my roster prediction based on that. But I had to go off of just the information there. Jordan James wasn't doing anything, had the broken finger. We didn't know when he was going to be around, what was going to be done. But yeah, Jeff Wilson slides to Miami's practice squad. Doesn't mean that his time with the 49ers is done. You know, this is moving back and forth. But Jordan James returns today, and there's your 5. I mean, Jordan James never had a chance of being cut or being exposed to being picked up. The 49ers invested too high of a draft pick. So, yeah. You know, I mean, a little bit of a surprise. I just was banking on Kyle Shanahan's allegiance to veterans, but, you know, nothing really crazy.
Yeah, I think with how it's set up now, I think the most interesting question is kind of what is going to happen with Guerrero and what his role with the team is. Because I don't think the third running back is going to get too many carries. I don't know. I've been asking this question for a few weeks now, kind of what the situation is with Isaac Guerrero, because it doesn't feel like he's necessarily in the best situation with the team right now. I guess that's the best way I can say it. But really no surprises. I get you want a Brian Robinson update, Jason. He's already changed his number
from
3 to 3, Ooh. Which is an interesting number for a run. I'm still getting used to the weird numbers at different positions, but I guess I would say 3 is better than 30 in terms of number for a running back, but that's a very unproven commodity because 3 hasn't exactly been a new number or a number for running backs to choose often.
My favorite number is 3. Allen Iverson, John Starks. I love it. I think it just looks cleaner. Like, it looks better. Obviously, he couldn't ask for number 8. I made the joke yesterday. It just went over everybody's head that he should ask for number 8, that nobody's ever really worn number 8. But yeah, that's a huge number. I mean, I think the more concerning thing is that Sky Moore just has no interest in having any sort of number that actually resembles being a wide receiver.
I believe he has 9 now, correct? Is that what his number was? Which
Gross.
hey, they're just already getting rid of Braden Willis erasure. I don't like that. I
Practice
like
squad.
9 and tight end practice squad. Is 9 a better receiver number than 24?
Yes,
Okay.
but by default,
Almost
like,
has to be. You're right.
yeah, like it is a better number, but it's not a good number. If that's the way that we can make it, make sense. Like Christian Watson wears number 9. He can't catch the football. I don't know, man. Remember when Christian Watson was supposed to be a 49er because of Trey Lance? That was good times, real good times.
Good times. He's not a Niner though. He's in Green Bay. Got a lot of now you're bringing back the memories of like, oh man, you see how easy it was for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. They went to the same college, and look how good. And like as if that was the secret. Has nothing to do with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow being very good football players. Right. Everything to do with they played with each other at LSU. That logic obviously was going to work for the Niners, but we never got to find out. The Chargers can try it. The Chargers maybe can try it.
With
they could get Watkins and they have Trey Lance.
Or Watson. Watson and yeah. Well, no. You know what? Shout out to Trey Lance, man. He's the backup quarterback.
He's the backup.
He did it. Shout out, man. You beat out Taylor Heineke. I didn't see that coming.
Hot seat though, because I think Justin Herbert's in for a career year with Madison Beer. Just throwing it out there, Jason.
Oh, listen, man.
We talked about it a little bit.
Watch the damn tape, buddy. Oh yeah,
watch the tape, buddy. Hey, wide receivers. This is where it's going to get a little weird. There's been a lot of movement at the position already. So again, reminder: this is not the initial 53. This is kind of where we're standing right now. It's Jauan Jennings, and we'll talk about him in a second. Jason Aponte, Ricky Pearsall, Sky Moore, Jordan Watkins. Russell Gage, who was cut yesterday, already back to the team. He's going to be on the practice squad. He's going to get called up to the 53-man roster.
Well, no, he's on the 53. He's not going practice squad. John Lynch he's on the 53. Those were his words. He's going straight to the 53.
He's on the 53, but I don't think they've made the official move
No,
yet.
He hasn't signed yet. Him and MVS, they haven't gotten that done yet.
Scantling is the other receiver. Not quite. So right now, because of the Jacob Cowing move, the 49ers currently have 4 receivers technically on the roster in Jennings, Pearsall, Sky Moore, Jordan Watkins. Gage will be back at some point, maybe during this podcast. And then we need the Valdez-Scantling move to be made official. He's on his way. Brandon Aiyuk goes to the PUP list. Demarcus Robinson goes to the suspended list. Jacob Cowing goes to injured reserve. He was moved to injured reserve to make room for Thomas Morstead. Cut was Junior Bergen, Robbie Chosen, Tariq Owens, Isaiah Hodgins, Malik Knowles, and Malik Turner. The 49ers don't have a lot of healthy receivers, Jason Aponte. Let's start with the big news today, Jauan Jennings. We got our first real update, not really a huge update that we didn't know, but John Lynch did mention that he did request a trade. The Niners barked up that tree. They're not barking up that tree anymore, and we don't know when Jauan Jennings is ready to go. That's really the big update. I think it's interesting that they openly talked about they did look into trading him. I'm gonna be real hot take right here. This is probably the most annoying holdout of all the holdouts we've had. Again, I know the Aiyuk and the Debo and the Bosa, they went much longer than this. Again, it's just the timing of it, the injury, everything kind of around it. This has been very, very weird. And it's been a weird one. And I don't know really what to make of the situation. Like it's even to a point of, you've got Pearsall, you've got MVS who has some level of NFL experience. I'm curious when he does get healthy, how much this affects his kind of pecking order within I don't want to say the depth chart, because I'm sure once he gets healthy, he'll be thrown as the first receiver on the depth chart. But that Shanahan doghouse does exist. And I don't know if this is something that would necessarily put Jennings in the doghouse. I'm just curious of what his standing is going to be when he returns to the team, because this has been a very weird situation.
So much of this is weird. First of all, John Lynch is tired of the shit already. And he's tired of it because of, one, the negotiation, and he's tired of it, too, because they have to do all these roster gymnastics on the 53 because they don't know what he's going to be. And when he says both can be true, he's hurt and wants a contract, and he says, yeah, he requested a trade, we're not doing that. I've never seen John Lynch more upset. And to your point about Brandon Aiyuk and Debo Samuel and Nick Bosa, those guys are really fucking good at football, and they were the year before. Jauan Jennings was good. He was good. He was fine. You know, like again, the first time that he's sniffing 1,000 yards, so much of that can be credited to the fact that one, he's a very good contested catch guy. Two, who else were they going to throw the football to? And three, Kyle Shanahan was getting him open. But this is like bled way too far into this. Now, this staring contest is really annoying because one, you don't know what the injury is. And John Lynch said you can't image him every day, so we know calves can linger. He does want a new contract, but you can tell he's fed up. He's fed up. The one guy who was actually chilling this entire this press conference was Kyle Shanahan, who was just like, it's a business. Because you know what? He knows that he can use whatever that he's going to have to get guys open. As far as MVS goes, this guy is going to lead the league in cardio in week 1. He is going to run 25 to 30 clear out routes so they can run those backside digs to Ricky Pearsall, and they can get George Kittle open on whip routes and all those things. You use Marquez Valdes-Scantling as the speed guy that he is to make Seattle respect the deep ball. And that's it. Like I don't expect much from him. Again, there's not much out there. And I want to point out one more thing. If people are like, well, why didn't you claim this guy? Why didn't you put in something for Malachi Corey? Why didn't you put in something for this guy? I don't think people realize that when you put in a waiver claim, they have to go straight to the 53. Now, that means you have to make a corresponding move. So why do you want to add somebody in a waiver claim when you have to move somebody? Who are you moving off of this roster? So, look, for me, the Jauan Jennings thing, I've never seen John Lynch more upset. And he just it's like he knew the comments were coming. He knew the questions were coming, but he's not happy right now. Yeah. And he's not happy for 2 reasons. 1, Jauan Jennings wants a new contract. 2, he's hurt. And 3, they don't want to pay him past this year. And I don't blame them. I really don't blame them. So, like, this is just more annoying than anything. One thing I do want to note real quick before I pass it back to Andrew, the Jacob Cowing IR thing is really important with the timing because they don't have to declare him right now as a return from IR candidate. He can just be on IR. Now, that could mean he can come back whenever it is that he's healthy, or he can stay on IR and just miss the entire season. I think that was kind of shrewd, and I think it answers the question of why didn't you put him on IR to start because of this reason.
Yeah. Gives him a little bit more flexibility. Hey, Jason, I know it doesn't work exactly this way with how football works because the Niners do have Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle, and they're obviously going to help in the passing game. But as it's kind of slated right now, the 49ers are going to enter Seattle with Ricky Pearsall, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Russell Gage, and Sky Moore as their 4 top receivers. Is that a good enough group to work against the Mike McDonald defense? And I know, again, try not to mention McCaffrey and Kittle. I just want to kind of talk about the receivers as they stand right now. Is that a good enough group to enter an NFL season with?
I don't think Sky Moore is going to play much. I think it's going to be Russell Gage, and they're going to call up Robbie Chosen. I think those are the guys that you're going to – and then, with MVS, he'll play X. So MVS will play X. He'll be the clear-out guy. You'll put Pearsall as Z, which will alleviate the pressure of having him be the number 1 guy, but you're still going to be able to give him number 1 targets. And then you'll figure out what you can do with Gage and Chosen. I think they'll be fine in week 1. Now, is that ideal? No, but that's probably the way they're going to go. I don't think you see Sky Moore much in week 1. And rightfully so, honestly. Like given what these guys have shown, and given what this offense can be, especially when you think about what Marquez Valdes-Scantling brings. So, yeah, those names don't knock your socks off, but I guarantee you the 49ers will be able to generate offense one way or another because of the other guys that you mentioned. Yeah. Dare I say, you may have to give the ball to 2 really good players in George Kittle and Christian McCaffrey and hope for the best. I'll take my chances.
Yeah, I think part of it comes down to we've been a little spoiled at the receiver position the past couple of years with the consistency of Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel and Jauan Jennings is the third. And now we're going in with, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it's a bad receiving core, right? Because I don't think it is.
It
Jason's
is.
going to use the bad. Okay, we'll use the word bad because it's a lot of unproven. It's Ricky Pearsall unproven. Marquez Valdes-Scantling feels like he's had his best days a few years ago. Didn't really do much last year. Russell Gage hasn't been in the league for a couple of years now. Robbie Chosen's kind of bounced around. It's not a group that I feel comfortable with. But again, as I said, it's football, Jason. just throwing George Kittle into that conversation of like, yeah, you could also throw this guy makes it look a lot better. But yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure on Ricky Pearsall right now because he was the first round pick. He is your quasi number one receiver at this point. And I think it might be a little too early to throw him into that situation. However, the Niners don't really have an option at this point because of the Jawan Jennings situation, because of Brandon Ayuk's injury, because of Marcus Robinson's suspension. It's going to be an interesting receiving core to watch week one. That's for sure.
Flip the names and flip the teams. Let's just say it was Seattle and it was Jackson Smith and Jigba and those names that we just mentioned from the 49ers. You'd probably be laughing at the Seattle Seahawks and saying, oh, we're going to kick your ass. You know, like that's the way that you really should contextualize this and look at this. That doesn't mean anything necessarily other than the 49ers have guys who have played in the NFL, they have experience, and then you've got some unknowns. There's nothing wrong with being objective when it comes to this. Again, if it was Jackson Smith and Jigba and Russell Gage and Robbie Chosen, you'd make all the jokes in the world. So you got to keep that same sort of energy. Like for me, though, the difference is George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, play caller, Kyle Shanahan. Those are the differences. That's why you have to feel at least a little bit better.
Yeah.
I do feel like, and not to look too far into the week one game plan, but this has to be like a largely control the game, run the football game, and not try to let this thing get out of hand where you can get into predictable throwing the football situations because Mike McDonald and that defense, they're preying on that. So you have to be able to run the football. This is going to mean Christian McCaffrey, Brian Robinson. And then when you need those clutch plays, it's going to be Pearsall and Kittle. But you can't just sit there and just drop back 40, 45 times.
Yeah.
That's not going to be the way to win this game in week one.
Especially with this receiving core. You can't do it. Jason, tight ends, the guy who makes us feel a little more comfortable about wide receivers. George Kittle, Luke Farrell, Jake Tonges makes the roster. Braden Wells cut. He's thrown on the practice squad. We'll talk about the practice squad. Everybody kind of there at the end here. No surprises here, right, Jason? I mean, you had Tonges. You talked me into Tonges. I thought, again, it was jersey number 9 with Braden Wells. I just kept seeing it in the preseason. I'm like, yeah, that's the guy. But then you kind of mentioned on Monday, it's like, well, you kept seeing him in the preseason because he's not going to be on the roster. And Tonges, you don't want to get him hurt. And that made all the sense in the world to me. So that's why I saw him so much. Any thoughts on the tight ends outside of the list of names I just threw out there?
Nothing. Just happy to nail one of these position groups. I mean, I think I got quarterback and tight end correct. So, pat on the back.
There you go. I think I got running back, and I think I got the offensive line correct too, if I'm not mistaken.
Did you have Hennessy on there?
I did have Hennessy, and then I think I cut him because I made a mistake in one of my secondary positions. But I did have him originally. So if you go back and listen to the original list, I think I had all 10. The 10 offensive linemen the 49ers have: Trent Williams, Ben Barch, Jake Brendel, Dominic Puni, Colton McKivitz, Connor Colby, Spencer Burford, Austin Pleasance, Matt Hennessy, Drew Moss, Nick Zakel. There, I said it better, guys. I said it better. Isaiah Prince, Drake Nugent, Michael Duncutt.
Well,
suspended as Isaac.
Yes, Zakel's on practice squad.
Yes, he got cut. He's moved to the practice squad, but he did get cut on the original 53-man roster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, all of that is, it's just, again, this is the scary part, right? Now the corresponding moves, right? You move Cowing the IR to sign the punter. There's going to be an offensive lineman that's going to get left off of this roster now because when you add Russell Gage, who's going to be going straight to the 53, you have to assume MVS is going straight to the 53. That's 2 of them. Now, who is it? Is it Matt Hennessy who gets moved to the practice squad? Because the 49ers have only announced 13. They're allowed 17. One of those is going to be Adrian Martinez. So now you've got 3 spots. So, offensive line, defensive line, I would say that you're probably going to take 1 and 1 from those guys and put them on the practice squad. Who is it going to be is going to be interesting.
Yeah, and as a whole, Jason, the starting 5, it's looking like it's Williams, Barch, Brendel, Puni, and McKivitz.
And they're all on track for week 1,
and they're all on track for week 1, which is huge, especially with Puni's injury. How do you feel about the offensive line?
I feel fine. I can't do anything about it. Obviously you want to upgrade a center with Jake Brendel, but Barch played well when he was asked to. He's been the starter. You got to hope that Trent is still Trent, and I still believe that until I see Trent not beat Trent, then I'm not going to assume that that's not going to happen. McKivitz becomes probably the most important on this offensive line, and let me reiterate what that means. Spencer Burford's actually done a really good job, and obviously the drop off from Trent Williams to him is going to be massive. But if Colton McKivitz misses time and Austin Pleasance has to play football, this is going to be a very, very, very scary offensive line. So, say whatever you wanted about Colton McKivitz in the past few years, but the 49ers cannot afford to have him leave this lineup, which is kind of the funny way that the NFL is. To yet one man's trash is another man's treasure. Colton McKivitz is very important to this offensive line.
Let's move to the defensive line now, Jason. Also, good time halfway through. Good time to remind people, Jason Aponte's YouTube channel. It's a great YouTube channel. You should subscribe, like every video. There's 53 of you guys in here watching live right now.
53 on a 53-man roster discussion? Man,
we like it. That's how it works.
We need 53 likes. Come on.
At least 53 likes. Great time to subscribe to the channel. If you're not watching live, you're watching the video on demand, I guess you would call it. Great time to subscribe to Jason Aponte's YouTube channel. A lot of great content there, a lot of new content, bully ball, stats, Brian Peacock, Brad Graham, all of them on Jason Aponte's YouTube channel. Please, 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 please subscribe. Also, Spring Red Option Podcast. That's a good podcast. I like it. One of my personal favorites. Only place to find it is Jason Aponte's YouTube channel. Defensive line, Jason, there was a couple movements on it today. Mykel Williams, Jordan Elliott, Kalia Davis, Nick Bosa, Bryce Huff, CJ West, Alfred Collins, Sam Okuwanu, Yetur Gross-Matos, Robert Beal, and then originally Evan Anderson makes the roster. Niners claim Jordan Jefferson from the Jacksonville Jaguars, so Evan Anderson has been removed from the roster. Injured reserve with designation for return is Kevin Givens, which would be a huge boost to this defensive line when he does come back. The players who were cut was Sebastian Valdez, a fan favorite. Evan Anderson, as I said, he was cut today. Jonathan Garvin, Jalen Allen, Bruce Hector, William Bradley King, and Shaquille Brown. First, let's get the big name out of the way. Sebastian Valdez, fan favorite. Jason, what was your reaction when because he was one of the first names we saw didn't make the roster, kind of the early leaks. I think he might have been the first name that we saw didn't make the 53. I know a lot of fans wanted him to make the roster. It's tough though when two of your top four picks are defensive tackles playing that same position as Valdez.
And Kyle Shanahan talked about that, about how many people were going to be in that position. And then John Lynch reiterated about flexibility. And we didn't know that Yetur Gross-Matos was going to get, activated. Mm-hmm. And now he's on track for week 1. So a lot of those things have to factor into it. Hopefully Evan Anderson, I think Evan Anderson makes it back to the practice squad. Yeah. I don't think anybody's going to run out there and use a waiver claim on him because, again, any waiver claim that you use on a player, you got to put on a 53. I don't know if people are going to jump out the window for that one, but yeah, it's good to have him back there. And Kyle said that, they're really excited about him and getting him reps and things like that. And he said, I'm sure we're going to use him down the line. That's up to you whether you want to get a little bit nervous because he's almost predicting injuries, which I think that's fair. I think you have to assume that, and that's why you keep guys on the practice squad. But, yeah, I just thought that when we were doing our prediction, I was going through it and trying to find a way to get him and Drew Moss on this roster. And I had to, make some moves and everything as well, too. Thank God that I can just write mine down on a pad and put it out on the internet, and then that's it. It just, gets burned up. But, having to make these decisions, it's hard. And I don't envy the 49ers in the spot that they're in, especially given the injuries and then, the stuff that's going on with Juwan Jennings. Is he going to be ready for week 1? Are you going to carry him? All that stuff. It's not as easy as it looks, for all of us, wannabe GMs.
Jason, really the biggest outlier for the 49ers initial 53-man roster, and a lot will change, is that what is it, 23 offensive linemen and defensive linemen combined. So that's almost half of the 53-man roster at two positions, Jason. Who do you think would probably, out of all the names we mentioned, who do you think would be the first name kind of drop down to practice squad to make room for some guys?
Matt Hennessy, I think, from the offensive line. Defensive line, this one's tough, man, because I don't see how you can do this one without it being, met with anything that's, backlash, but probably Robert Beal Jr.
Robert Beal definitely feels like the odd man out. I mean, it's not going to be Jordan Jefferson. Niners use a waiver claim on him, so you got to think he's pretty secure. So I mean, there's at least 2 roster spots that will have to be made for Gage and Valdez-Scantling, and I think out of the whole roster as well, I think your 2 names you're looking at is Hennessy and Beal. That's not just in the trenches. That's every position on this 53-man roster. So I absolutely agree there. Linebacker Jason Aponte, Fred Warner, D. Winters, Nick Martin, Tatum Bethune. Luke Gifford. The players who were cut: Curtis Robinson, Chaz Surratt, who signed with the Seahawks today, I believe. So kind
He
of
did.
a trade off there. Niners get Marquez Valdez-Scantling to learn about all their offensive secrets.
I was waiting
The
for you to make that joke.
Seahawks get Chaz Surratt to learn all the Niners secrets. Jalen Graham and Stone Blanton were the ones out. Really no surprise there. I think maybe the surprise is they got rid of both Surratt and Curtis Robinson. I know Robinson comes back on the practice squad, but I think a lot of people had one or the other making it. Niners end up getting rid of both and keeping 5 linebackers.
We didn't. I got that one right too. Linebackers. Nailed that one as well too. I look again, the Surratt thing, the only thing that I struggled with is Surratt having the Salah connection, special teams. That's the only thing I struggled with. But Curtis Robinson, the pick six was really nice, but it's too quick from the injury. So, and I don't think anybody was gonna go crazy on that. So that's why he comes back to the practice squad. So yeah, this one felt right. Winters, Martin, Jalen, not Jalen Graham, Tatum Batoon, and Winters and Warner. That felt like that was an easy one to call.
Yeah, I mean the top 4 were definitely the easy ones for me. I just again there's 3 guys and it felt like they were going to keep 2 of them. They ended up keeping only 1 in Gifford. So hey man, that's the roster movement and kind of the decisions you have to make to free up spaces. Another one of the big surprising cuts, Jason Aponte, cornerbacks. The 6 they keep on the roster: Diamador Lenore, Renardo Green, Darrell Luter, Upton Stout, Chase Lucas, and Siren Neal. They cut Dallas Flowers, who a lot of people really, really liked, out of camp. They get rid of Fabian Moreau, who I believe I saw signed with Minnesota's practice squad.
And I think Dallas Flowers just went unclaimed and he didn't end up back on the practice squad.
Let's see here. Did Dallas Flowers, just to double check? Because I don't think I saw anything there. Yeah, I haven't seen anything with where he went or nothing. So it sounds like Dallas Flowers is a free agent at this moment. Niners didn't move on. But yeah, what was your instant reaction to, because it felt like it was Luter versus Flowers, and the Niners keep Luter. I wonder how much of it has to do with Luter's just been here for a couple of years. That probably plays a role in it. But in terms of Luter versus Dallas Flowers, Jason, where you at on that conversation?
I'm shocked, honestly, at least by that one. Given the Gus Bradley connection and how highly they thought of him and the athlete that he was and how much he was running as the number 3 cornerback, I think it just boiled down to the last few weeks, the last game. Darrell Luter showed some things. He played very well in run defense. He had some pass breakups. He allowed some catches. Again, if you're getting down to Darrell Luter or Dallas Flowers playing, you're probably not in a good spot. But I do think that the emergence of Chase Lucas and Siran Neal made it easier for them to make this decision on Flowers. And I still believe that the 49ers drafted Darrell Luter and they really believe in him and they're sticking with their project and they're sticking with their guy. So, again, when it comes down to this, I think the last few weeks were very important. And when Siran Neal shows that he can play cornerback and safety, you have to keep that positional flexibility. And then you have Chase Lucas, who's playing inside and outside. It kind of made it like, Flowers is just expendable at this point.
Yeah, Jacob Robinson also goes to the IR in this group. It's an interesting spot because Luter, he's been more of a special teams player the past few years, injuries in here and there, and he's stepping into this quarterback 3 role, and so that's it's a pretty big promotion within one training camp.
I would ask you, I think Chase Lucas is your 3rd outside corner. I think that's what they're kind of thinking, and obviously Upton Stout returned to practice today, which is also some good news. We're having too much good news. We're having way too much good news today. Like Jordan James is back at practice. Upton Stout's back at practice. I'm scared. When's the bullet coming? When's the knife gonna come? But I do think Chase Lucas is your 3rd corner, not Darrell Luter. And I think Darrell Luter is here primarily because of one, like I said, they believe in him and they want him to work, but also his special teams prowess. I think Chase Lucas is your number 3.
Yeah, and that would be a huge upgrade for him as well. He was on the Niners practice squad all year last year. Really blew everybody out of the water with his performance in the preseason. So yeah, that's another good shout. I liked him in the slot, but he does have versatility. You feel really good about the first 2 cornerbacks, but after it gets very suspicious on the outside, at least, and we'll see what that looks like once the regular season starts.
I'll say that I feel better.
Yes.
About this. I feel better about this. I feel better about the secondary, like the cornerback room. I was very scared. Remember, we talked about it. After Renardo Green, after Diamador Lenore, this is going to get spooky. I feel better. and I don't know if that means necessarily great, but I feel better, and that's the way that I feel about it right now on August 27th.
That's baby steps, though. It's much better than feeling very bad, and it's the 53. So these are the players that you're running with, right? And I think it helps that you have confirmed names of what this roster actually looks like now instead of ideas. But yeah, you definitely feel better about it. And hey, just no injuries, no injuries. That's all we ask for. No injuries.
Feeling better is better than feeling spooky. That's all I'll say.
I like it. October's coming up too, so spooky feelings will come up. So
Just start.
safeties: Jason Aponte, Jason Pinnock, Jair Brown, Marquise Siegel, and Richie Grant cut, or Derek Canteen and Jalen Mahoney. And then on the pup list is Malik Mustafa. About what we expected. I had the hot take of Jair Brown, maybe not making it. I don't think that was ever going to happen. That was me being a hot take podcaster.
Saran Neal has really made this a little bit more flexible for them because he can play both positions. So I think that's important. The positional flexibility is really important. And the 49ers can't get rid of Jair Brown right now, even though he's fallen out of favor and the rotation. They don't want to see him start. They don't want to see him on the field, but you can't get rid of him right now until you try to figure out what's going on. Marcus Siegel and Pinnock are your starters week 1. And we're all excited about Siegel and Pinnock, but, again, you can't set your watch to it right now. You're excited, you have optimism, but that doesn't mean that you're certain. And that's what I think the Jair Brown thing signifies.
Final position group of the 53-man roster put a lot of Niners Twitter in a tizzy for which reason. Jake Moody, John Weeks, your long snapper, and then Thomas Morstead. He got brought back today with Jacob Cowan going to IR as a corresponding move. It was exciting to think the Niners were just never going to punt. It was never going to happen, but it was a fun thing to think about.
I had fun with it, and people, just have a lot of really hard time just being humorous at all. We're not allowed to make jokes at all about a sport that we have no control over and we just talk about. But you know what? I'm gonna get these fucking jokes off, and you know what? Cry me a river. But yeah, I also thought the same thing too. I was like, man, what a vote of confidence for the offense. We're not gonna punt the ball at all. We're going for it every fourth down. Way to go, Kyle Shanahan. We're moving, but obviously it is what it is, and you obviously have to have a specialist there. So yeah, Morstead makes it back, and you know what? Credit to the 49ers for taking their time with the Cowing thing, just based on the way that they can manipulate that IR spot, so it doesn't have to be designated to return. They can just kind of do whatever it is that they want to do with Cowing. So yeah, I mean, I'm good.
Yeah, no, this is about what we expected. Morstead being added back, yada, 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 of Jake Moody. Dustin Hopkins was cut by the Browns. That's a potential name we could talk about. Jason says he sucks. So,
but you know what? You know what's really scary? Miami and Jason Sanders, they, he's injured, but Greg Joseph was out there in Miami kicking field goals for them. I know that we said that he can just sit around and wait for, just in case but please don't sign him, Miami. Enough. Just enough, man. Leave him. Let him sit on the couch and just wait for the call if Moody, just implodes.
If. That's a big if, Jason. That feels like a very large if carrying that sentence, because it feels like it's... I don't like John Lynch saying that he felt Moody had a good preseason.
Thank you for saying that. That's where I was going to go.
I feel like we're lying to lie at this point.
Lie,
everybody lies.
Or you're just turning your back to what you were watching. Because he literally said, and you know what? This is something I think I'm going to add to the repertoire of videos because it did so well today. I did a instant reaction to the press conference in which I played the press conference and would pause it and just give my thoughts. I could not believe out of his mouth that he was saying, yeah, it's funny that everybody's all turning on Jake Moody after he had such a good game against the Raiders. Bro, are you saying this just because you want to gaslight us, or you really believe this? This is insane, man. This is insane. And you know what? Look, to kind of further double down on why you may not want to take everything that they say at face value, Adam Schefter put out a report saying that Juwan Jennings has requested a trade. And Kyle Shanahan said that has not happened. Today, we get them, and they say, that happened a while ago. Oh, so is it a while ago, or was it never? Look, I don't care if you lie about stuff like that, because for me, if Adam Schefter's saying that, he's saying that on good accord. But come on, man, don't piss on my head and tell me it's raining. This is the thing. And then the same thing with Moody. You're gaslighting everybody into saying, well, Moody wasn't as bad. Moody stinks. But you know what? I'll say this, and this is the last thing I got to say about the kickers. You get whatever you deserve now. If he blows a game, blame yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and just say, you know what, man? We're stupid. You're stupid for drafting him, but just say we're stupid for keeping him. You just need to be self-aware. That's it. Like, don't lie to us, man. Lie to yourselves. Don't lie to us.
I also think part of it with him saying, Moody had a good preseason. I think they recognize that a lot of Moody's issues are up here, not necessarily with his foot. Because like not to brag, Jason watched every single one of his college kicks. Like the leg is there. I just think a lot of it, a lot of it is mental. And them saying this stuff out in public is their way of being like, well, we're behind you, Jake Moody. We believe in you, to try and just any type of mental victory he can get. It just like I don't want to sit here and like diagnose people, but like I think Jake Moody could use a sports psychologist or something, because I feel like a lot of it is mental with him, and I think that's where you get a lot of these quotes from John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan kind of backing him up.
You know what I say that this Moody thing is? And we spent way too much time talking about this. It's the father who's watching his son play Little League, but he realizes my son doesn't have it, and he's still clapping from the stands, like, go get him, son. Like with a with like a like not even a lot of bass in his voice. You got it, man. Just look him over. Good pitch, kid. Like, and you just know that is not, but you don't want to destroy your son's, confidence and anything like that. You also don't want to look like a bad person in front of all those people, and you also don't want to take your son home and rip him, because it's still just a game at the end of the day. But essentially right now, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are that guy whose son is playing Little League right now, and he doesn't have it, but you're still trying to talk him into it and egg him on. That's literally what it is.
Jason, let's move on from kicker to the practice squad. The practice squad.
Yeah.
Niners announced their practice squad earlier today. The list as follows: cornerback Eli Apple, he's brought back. Wide receiver Junior Bergen, defensive lineman William Bradley King, which, by the way, shout out Brad Graham. There's no photos of William Bradley King, but seeing his graphics with just a giant 69.
69. It's a nice graphic.
It's a nice graphic. Defensive back Derek Canteen, wide receiver Robbie Chosen, defensive lineman Trevis Gibson, which Jordan Elliott, NBC Sports Bay Area Jordan Elliott, not Niner Jordan Elliott, has been very big on. So just a name to watch there. Linebacker Jalen Graham, offensive lineman Drake Nugent, quarterback Adrian Martinez. As I said, he's not officially here yet, but he is on the way. Linebacker Curtis Robinson, wide receiver Malik Turner, defensive lineman Sebastian Valdez, tight end Braden Willis, and offensive lineman Nick Sakel. There's your practice squad, Jason. Now, really, no surprises there. I think really the big name to watch there is Robbie Chosen. I think he's the likeliest one to kind of be floated back and forth between the roster right now, just because that's the state of the receiver room.
Yeah, he'll be elevated on game day in week 1, especially. But yeah, I mean, everything else. Jalen Graham had a really good camp. That makes sense why they would want to keep him around. But the Nick Zakel thing is just kind of baffling. It's like, what else are we doing here? Like, why are we doing this still? Like, why are we continuing to do this? I saw a lot of people talking about Willie Lampkin from the Rams, right? But Willie Lampkin was waived with the injury designation, and for the most part, most teams respect that, and they just said, let's not sign him. The Philadelphia Eagles don't give a flying fuck though, and they picked him up because they prioritize the offensive line, is what people are gonna say. But yeah, I mean, honestly, the Nick Sakel thing is just like, whatever, man. Like, hopefully it doesn't get there to where you have to play.
Yeah, I think outside of Chosen, Trevis Gibson, again, he had a relatively impressive preseason. He was a late addition to the 49ers. That's another position that could use some depth help on the defensive line. But other than that, it was a pretty straightforward practice squad. Eli Apple coming back is cool, considering, I mean, as cool as it can be, considering he wasn't on the roster for a couple weeks. They cut him 2 weeks ago. He didn't really play in the preseason, and just veteran experience within the NFL doesn't hurt to have, especially at a position like cornerback. But really happy Junior Bergen's back. All 11 players the Niners drafted this draft are still on the roster. So that's always a good sign with at least the first round of draft classes. Because I mean, there's teams out there that cut players, they use draft picks and they're not on the roster anymore. So I guess going 11 for 11 on having all them, again, I don't think Bergen helped himself with the last preseason game with his muff punt. And he's not really a receiver, but it's good to see him back, I guess.
It could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. It could be a good thing because now all of a sudden you've got all of 11 of your guys on there. It could be a bad thing that you need all 11 of your guys to be there, for the most part. So it depends on how you look at it. Clearly, look, this team is dedicated to the youth movement, the cheaper movement, all of those things. I thought it was kind of interesting today listening to John Lynch and Kyle talk about they know the bumps and bruises are coming, but they expect their guys who are the leaders to lead this team and be the example. And I think that's essentially what the message has been. I really appreciated what Kyle Shanahan said on Sirius XM, and he doubled down on that, and John Lynch reiterated that you know what? Yeah, we're gonna have some bumps and bruises, and we've got some inexperience, but we're looking to Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Fred Warner, all of those guys to lead and do more lifting. Nick Bosa, do more lifting, right? Like, and I don't think that that's a crazy ask of how good these players are. So, like, yes, the roster dynamics have changed. Yes, the philosophy has changed. But what's changed is you're asking your stud players to be stud players and lift your team up. I don't think that's too big of an ask.
No. Jason, there it is. The 53-man roster. The 55-man plus practice squad plus a couple moves need to be made. We went over it all. We like it. Jason, I got something very exciting to say right now.
Here we go.
Because I don't think we're recording Friday because you have a fantasy draft, I believe. I don't think we have a podcast.
No, Friday I can't. Yeah, no, Friday I can't. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter, like, because Friday is, it's like, nobody's really going to be doing it unless something crazy happens, which I doubt,
If nothing crazy happens, Jason, the next time you guys hear this podcast, it's going to be game week. We are almost there. We are 8 days away from the regular season starting with the Eagles and Cowboys on Thursday night. But the next time you'll be hearing this podcast, the San Francisco 49ers will be playing the Seattle Seahawks a couple days away, and we'll be previewing it. Jason, we made it through the offseason. We made it through training camp. We've made it through the preseason. We've made it through the initial 53-man roster. Next step, the regular season, pal. We've made it.
I want to ask you because I added the instant reaction to the press conference. I think that's something that I'm going to continue to do. So I turn into like a full reaction channel. What do you think about a watch party
for week 1?
For all weeks.
Ooh. I like it. I like just reaction right off the rip.
Well, while we're watching, we give reactions. We cut the stream off and then we go right into instant reaction for everybody else who doesn't watch the watch party. But the watch party could be a good way for to kind of peel the curtain back on how you and I react to football, during the time. And look, we got some flames and send some fire emojis in here if you think that's something that we should do, and you know what? It'll keep me locked in, because I'm weird and I don't watch football games with people. I don't watch 49ers games with people. I should say that. I watch football with a bunch of other people, especially, when my team's not involved. But I'm silent. I'm dead silent when I watch the 49ers. I just write things down and I don't say a word. But this could be a good chance to kind of peel the curtain back and think about what we're thinking about during the game and then kind of just, go for it. Look, fire emojis. I'm all in. Do it. That would be nice. Andrew, we got to give the people what they want, man. We got to start to think outside of the box right now, man. Like, that's why I kind of did the press conference today and did the instant reaction to turn into a full reaction channel.
We'll talk about it. I currently have plans for the Niners week 1. That's for sure. I have people coming over. Steak. We're doing steak for week 1. It's the big day, so we're doing steak for our football watching. I got my Dolphin fan Albert friend coming over. We're gonna watch the Dolphins at 10 a.m. But we might have to talk about that. I like that idea. Get the instant, just the live reaction of like the Jake Moody misses and all the good times on YouTube.com, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be a good idea. Again,
yeah.
We like giving, rational takes, well thought out takes. But maybe it should just be us. Maybe it should just be us in our rawest form and just show that again.
Oh, man.
We're like you. We're like you during these games.
Honestly, man. So you don't watch a soccer like I do, but today Grimsby Town beat Manchester United in the.
I thought I saw that on Twitter today.
And that's a 4th division team beating a Premier League team. But I have been enjoying watching the Manchester City or the Manchester United live reactions to everything going on. I could be talked into this. I could absolutely be talked into this. Just live reactions to every single play. I could be talked into this. I like it.
I'm starting to think that is going to happen anyway. Like, look, if you can't make it for week 1, that's cool. Like, I'll figure it out. Like for the first week. But I like the idea.
I like the idea. The idea's there. I like it. Maybe a rotating cast. Get different people. It depends who it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm liking it.
The chat likes it. The chat likes it, and that's most important. Is the chat likes it. So that. I like it. We'll put a pin on this conversation because I like the idea. I like where this is going. But for sure, next week, Jason, we'll have a Seahawks Niners preview. Maybe we'll sneak a second episode in and kind of do I was thinking an NFL as a whole preview prediction show.
We can do 2 because Monday we'll probably give our preview, but Friday before the game, I have a Seattle Seahawks content creator who will come on with us, and they will give us their perspective on that team. So we're adding that as well too. That's another thing we're adding to the channel this year is we're going to bring on the opposing team's content creator just to get someone else's perspective and just add a different perspective. So yeah, we're definitely doing 2 next week.
I like it. Okay, so we'll be back Monday to kind of give you the preview, maybe a Niner and NFL preview, kind of look at everything as a whole. Obviously more Niner centric. And then Friday, we're back with our normal, the run of the mill preview shows. We're going to have a Seahawk content creator on here. I'm excited, Jason. I'm getting real giddy about it.
I'm really excited about doing the game preview on Friday, but I don't want to take you away from the TV because there is going to be an NFL game and Karol G is going to be performing at halftime. And I don't know if I can keep you away from that. I don't know if Andrew and I will be able to sway you from the TV when Karol G is going to be be halftime.
Should we maybe do a lunchtime Friday then?
That might be best.
That might be best because there is an NFL game we're going to go up against. So maybe we go lunchtime on Friday. So Jason, that's it for the subsequent 53-man roster review. We're almost there. We're almost there, Jason. We're almost a week away. College football, big time back this weekend. You got number 1 Texas against number 3 Ohio State. You got Alabama versus my Florida State Seminoles. That game is not going to be pretty, but I'm going to watch every second of it. I'm excited, Jason. Football's back, man.
Thursday football, Friday football, Saturday college football, full slate, Sunday football, Monday football. Life is worth living. And right at the buzzer, John V, appreciate you, man. Thank you, fellas. Appreciate it, John. I hope everybody enjoys this week off. Enjoy the time with your family. This vacation time. Obviously Monday is a holiday. So enjoy your time. Get the last barbecues in. And for us parents, the kids are going back to school. Amazing. You'll get some more time to yourself as well too. And it's just all lining up. But summer's over. We had a lot of fun. I'm really happy. And John V says, I'm a Buckeye fan, so let's beat Texas. Really interested to see what Arch Manning does against a high-end program. I'm really going to be tuned into that because someone really made I don't know if it's a compelling argument, but they made an argument on ESPN today about, all of Arch Manning's good tape is against all the bad teams, and he struggled against. So we're going to find out. We're going to find out pretty quickly. Ohio State defending champion. Ohio State Buckeyes, by the way.
The hunting champion. Yep. Okay. I'm not a big Ohio State guy. I don't know if you can tell.
My brother went. My brother went to Ohio State. It's funny. My brother went to Ohio State. My father went to Indiana. Some of my family went to Purdue. Like it's all Big Ten centric.
And I went to Sac State, future Pac-12 school. So there you go, Jason DePonte.
And I went to Community College of DeVry.
The Harvard University.
I went to the custodial arts of Harvard University.
Jason DePonte, as always.
Let's go Niners. Enjoy your weekend.
Football bump. But